Welcome to the Swine Nutrition Black Belt Podcast, the latest swine nutrition research digested for you. My name is Clayton Chastain, your host for today's episode. Today we have with us Dr. Tsungcheng Tsai, a research associate at the University of Arkansas. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Clayton?
Pretty good. So Tsungcheng, would you mind telling me about this nursery study you conducted?
Yes. So in today's episode, I would like to share with you some results we presented at this year's Midwest meetings and focus on the two additives we tested in the nursery trial. And before I start on that, I would like to briefly describe the background of our swine research unit at the University of Arkansas. So we have 150 cells, and we have a nursery and grow finisher facility. This setting allows us to evaluate the programming in the early life and how that impact the metabolisms, GI tract bacteria, and growth performance in a different stage of animal. And with leading from our microbiologist, Dr. Giles, we have been able to identify the predominant the bacteria at a different production stage. And based on that, we have been able to test the different of the strategy aiming to manipulate these ecosystems and hope to expedite the development of the biological function and help pig to fighting the winning stress. And so if you attend this year's Midwest meeting, I believe you should aware that the industry-wise has been fighting with this E.coli outbreak since 2019. And that appear this bacteria doesn't respond to the antibiotic treatment. So it's urgent to us that we need to find alternative options when deal with this E. coli outbreak. So we conduct this study at the 2020, and we test the two ingredients. One is lactylate, while the other one is the Bacillus subtilis. So lactylate is the lactic acid esterified with the fatty acid and has been commonly used in the food industry as a emulsifier, which means it's safe to be used in the production animal as well. And some evidence suggests that the lactylate supplement in both poultry and the swine diet can improve their growth performance. But the study that's focusing on the bacteria cycle or bacteria study of the lactylate has very few. And the other additive is Bacillus subtilis, which is one of the most commonly seen probiotic in today's market. So we use the PIC wean pig. Pig will wean at 21 days of age. Upon the weaning, we allowed them to one of the 4 dietary treatments. Treatment 1 was control, while treatment 2 was lactylate. So lactylate we use was lactic acid esterified with both 12 and 14 carbon of the fatty acid. Treatment 3 was the Bacillus subtilis mixture. So we mixed the 2 strains of the Bacillus subtilis. While treatment 4 was combination of the treatment 2 and the treatment 3. So we measured the growth performance. We also selected a medium body weight pig at the weaning and collect the blood and the fecal sample at the subsequent phases to evaluate the complete blood cell count as well as the total E. coli, enterotoxigenic E. coli, and using the 16S sequencing technique to study the fecal microbiome. So the result we found was that when pig fat diet contains lactylate, can reduce the total E. coli, enterotoxigenic E. coli count, as well as increase the population of eosinophil in the circulation. And the other interesting thing we found from the trial was that when pig fat diet contains combination of lactylate and Bacillus subtilis can further reduce the total E. coli and the enterotoxigenic E. coli count. And when we look into the fecal microbiome, we find somehow similar but also distinguished difference when compared the pig fat diet contain lactylate alone or pig fat diet contain both combination of the lactylate and Bacillus subtilis. And when we use the random forest to rank the bacteria that are most cost-relative to the average daily gain and the feed efficiency, we identify the bacteria that positively correlate with average daily gain and the feed efficiency, but only with a highly abundant in the pig bed with the combination of lactylate and the Bacillus subtilis. And as for the growth phenotype, we observe the difference response on the diet content lactylate compared to the diet content with the Bacillus subtilis. With diet content lactylate can show improvement on the average daily gain and average daily feed intake in the nursery phase 1, while the response of the diet content the Bacillus subtilis is more on the feed efficiency. And the other interesting finding we have from this trial was when we fed the pig with the diet content both lactylate and Bacillus subtilis had the greatest feed efficiency in the nursery phase 1 and 2. So based on the result, we found a synergistic effect between the lactylate and the Bacillus subtilis. And evidence suggests that the lactylate and the Bacillus subtilis combination can be an alternative option for industry producer to consider when to help a pig battle the weaning stress.
So you said this lactylate is an emulsifier, but what exactly does it do in the pig's body? Why does it decrease the E. coli count?
Exactly, mode of action, we are not very sure. But it's interesting to find it has this mechanism. So I think in the future, we'd like to look into in the vitro study that directly look to play the E. coli and with this lactylate to study if it can directly reduce the E. coli populations.
Gotcha. That was actually going to be my next question was what further research you're going to be doing. But yeah, that'll be very exciting and I'll look forward to that. Is there anything else you'd like to add about this study or this ingredient before we finish up?
I think our finding from research, from this particular research is pretty exciting, especially right on time when industry-wise have been battled with this E. coli outbreak. Although that this probably not going to be like the major bullet to help taking care of all the problems, but somehow it should help mitigate the weaning stress. So,
yeah, I think so too. That'd be very helpful right now, especially with all the different types of E. coli popping up. Well, I think that's all the time we have, but thank you for coming on the show. And to everyone else, thank you for listening to the Swine Nutrition Black Belt podcast. Please visit us at swinenutritionblackbelt.com and don't forget to subscribe to our podcast channel so you won't miss out on the next episode. See you next week. Hey everyone, we're always searching for the latest and greatest research to share each week. If you have a swine nutrition related research trial and would like to come on the show to talk about it and share with us, feel free to send an email to nutritionblackbelt@swineit.com and we would love to take a look at your research.